Hey, welcome back to the channel. I missed you. So my last video that I made in regards to Gaijin's press release was really more intended to be a knee-jerk reaction to it. And like I said in that video, I had read the first few paragraphs and decided to hit record. But now I've had a bit of time to reflect on it, and I wanted to make a slightly more in-depth video on the topic. Before I do, I have made this little meme as a illustration of my thoughts on the matter. As you can see here, I have depicted the War Thunder player base as the sleek Chad FDR bullet train, and I've depicted Gaijin, as you can see here, as the seething Thomas Dewey coal locomotive. So, anyway, let's get into the video. I could talk at length about how bad the in-game economy has gotten, but it would take me way too long to do so, and there's plenty of other content creators that have already done that, and probably better than I could. But if I had to summarize, it has, over the past few years, gotten to the point where unless you are able to dedicate almost every bit of free time you have to playing War Thunder on top of premium time and premium vehicles, you will not make any meaningful progress in the tech tree. It's at the point now where ever since the F4C and the MiG-21F were announced, I just don't really have any interest in any new top tier announcements, because I know that A, they will be unattainable for me by the time the next new top tier is announced, and B, for those of us who main minor nations, like France in my case, or Britain or Italy, we will not be getting any comparable or competitive vehicles until the meta has passed, and any vehicles we do get will not be competitive at that point. Now, to get back to the press release itself, let's not make any mistakes here. It's damage control. That's all that this is. It's just damage control. And any points that Kirill has tried to make in this statement are either just stating the obvious of how a game economy works, or an extremely surface level observation of the problems players have with the economy of War Thunder. And the main point that they harp on in the article, and the main counter argument that I see in favor of Gaijin's monetization policy, is that they are a company that needs to make money, offering a free-to-play game for free, that they need to make money somehow, and that's true. I don't think anyone is seriously arguing against that, but there's a happy medium to be struck there. If a company is offering a free service and they want to offer a paid option to make them money and to incentivize people to pay for that option by making the premium version better than the free one, that's fine. They are well within their rights to do that, but that free version still needs to be usable. In its current state, playing War Thunder for free and getting any sort of meaningful long-term enjoyment out of it is practically impossible, and paying for it makes this go from impossible to extremely unlikely. Now again, Gaijin is a business at the end of the day, and they need to make money somehow to continue developing the game. I'm not an expert in business. I don't have any formal education in business, nor do I have much cursory interest in the subject as a whole. So if what I'm about to say is wrong or it doesn't make sense, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But this business model that Gaijin has utilized for the past few years of just blatant cash grab after blatant cash grab, while disenfranchising players who want to continue playing this game for free, while also slapping the paying players in the face with the planned economy changes that they've just rolled back in a panic. I don't know. It just seems really short-sighted to me. Like, yeah, Gaijin is a company, but they're not publicly traded. They don't have a rock-solid commitment to shareholders to promise growing returns every quarter. They can afford to take a hit to their quarterly growth in profits, and note, I say growth in profits. I do not mean losing money. They are not losing money. They're not running in the red. They can take that hit if it means greater long-term stability, if it means a satisfied, dedicated player base who won't mind spending money on the game and will likely continue to do so. If they operate under business as usual, continue to give a middle finger to those long-term players who, while just trying to bring in new players to buy a $70 premium, make the game, play the game for a week or two at most, decide they don't really like it, and leave, yeah, they'll make more money quarter to quarter for a bit, but it will crash at some point, and it looks like the snail's knees are starting to buckle under that weight. Now, I'm not gonna read the entire press release verbatim in this video. That's what the last one was for, but I really want to highlight that fourth paragraph, and I'll put it up on the screen right now. Most War Thunder players, about 80%, have never paid a dime into a game whilst playing for months or years. Many of those players who have paid for something in the game don't pay every month and sometimes not every year either. Nevertheless, all of the maintenance to this game, all of its development, servers, and support is provided by those players who pay. I mean, I don't have any substantial reason to believe that that figure isn't true other than the fact that it is Gaijin who is making it, so I'll just roll with it for the sake of this video. In this paragraph, Gaijin is chastising 80% of their player base here by scorning them for playing their free-to-play game for free, while also chastising the remaining players who do pay money for not paying enough. Like why? Where do you get off? Like, why would you think that's a good idea? So they go on to talk about how they use several different parameters and metrics to determine the economy and progression mechanics in the game, and I would assume balancing those vehicles as well. And this just kind of strikes me as pushback against the talking point that they seem to exclusively use player statistics to balance vehicles, which can and does just become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, if a vehicle is doing too well, it will either have its BR raised, its repair costs raised, or the vehicle itself will be nerfed, which causes only the best players to be able to afford to play it and make a profit. And this problem just compounds on itself, etc., etc. Like, lest we forget the tale of the Lorraine 40T. And Gaijin has always pushed back on this, and they claim that they use other parameters to determine balancing, but I really don't know if I can believe that. I mean, remember years ago, a few people, I believe they were in Defen Squadron, decided to test that, so they got super cracked in the CL-13, a plane that is really not competitive and hasn't been for a while, and just spammed it out over the course of a few weeks or so. And because they're such good players, they just wiped the floor match after match with it, and the next patch, the CL-13 was raised in BR. And Gaijin keeps saying that this is not the case, but a general rule of thumb for anything Gaijin says that I found, and for Russian propaganda as a whole, if they say they have something and you do not see it, they do not have it. Now, this leads us to the final part of the press release about the review bombing. The players who are fed up with Gaijin have finally found a way to hit them where it hurts with the Steam reviews. You know, potential new players are going to see these overwhelmingly negative reviews and are probably not going to want to play the game, and this is going to hurt Gaijin's bottom line, and I'd be willing to bet that's the entire reason they decided to make this press release in the first place. You know, Gaijin asks players to not use such, quote, destructive ways to voice their concerns, and instead to do so on the forums or on the subreddit, as that would be more effective and constructive. They end that paragraph by saying, if the game is shut down, no one wins. And that may be true, but only one of us loses. If Gaijin decides to shut down its most active game and its cash cow, it's GG for Gaijin. I don't think they're going to be able to recoup those losses through Enlisted. Now this part is just the most egregious thing about this press release, in my opinion, and of Gaijin's attitude as a whole. I mean, the point of any form of protest is never to be convenient for the people they're protesting against. If it was, the opposing party could simply just ignore the protesters, and that's what Gaijin has done up until that point. Even if what Gaijin is saying here is true, even if voicing these concerns on the forums or on the subreddit is more effective and constructive than leaving a negative review on Steam, and let's make no mistake, it's not, but assuming it is for the sake of argument, if that's true, that would mean that Gaijin is well aware of the problems the in-game economy already has and made the decision to actively make it worse. And that might be an even worse look for Gaijin. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I really appreciate it. And let me know what subjects you'd like for me to talk about in the future. And I think we are done here.